The podcast is back. Welcome to Tasler Guide Service. Join along as my guests and I dive into our outdoor adventures, share some laughs, and of course a few beers. A new episode will be released every other Friday at 5 a.m. I hope you guys have as much fun watching as we did making it. We were in a fishing frenzy last night. We showed up, we worked till 5-ish.
Yeah.
Well, I think we were on the ice about 5.
Yeah, we got on at 5, drilled first hole.
And it looked like a Christmas tree down there. There was just freaking fish everywhere.
Yeah, it was just 3 feet of
unbelievable.
fish.
So we were just hammering bluegill. And, some were a smaller class that were 5, 6. And then there was the gooder ones that was, I'd say some of them were 9.5, 10.
Yeah, probably the size of your hand fish.
Not your hands. You were
bear
a college.
paws. They're little bear paws.
You're a college thrower. You got big hands.
How late did you guys stay out? And when were they hitting?
The fish shut off at 7-ish.
Yeah,
probably.
7.
It was a feeding frenzy, which we caught a few bass, mainly bluegill, and then they shut off. But we were on a downward slide that there was about 5 foot away was 9 foot, 13 foot's where we were sitting, and then I think it maybe dropped on past
I think I got
us
a little bit to 14.
a little bit.
Leveled out.
So we were kind of in the daytime hole, and they scavenged around. We were too deep for that time, I think, for that body of water. So if we wanted to move, we could have, but...
You guys stayed in one spot the whole time?
Yeah.
Do you like to move around?
I love to move around, yeah.
Same.
Mainly during the day. At night, I usually sit on a ledge and let the fish come to me because it gets cold. There's no denying it gets freaking cold. But... yeah, during the day, I'm out of my shack more than I'm in my shack. I love to hole hop, just because you never know what's around the next bend,
Well, yeah, you could move 20 feet and you're
on
slamming
it.
them. Yeah.
You find a brush pile, or you find a drop, or you find a ledge. Yeah. So that was our intro to ice. That's first time I ever fished with you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Last night. We've worked together for
3 years.
3 years. Never fished together. Because he sucks.
Was it 20-0, you said?
At least. No, it was, you could have thrown, we threw spikes, waxies, minnows, plastics, and until 7 o'clock, it didn't matter what you threw down there. It was bam, 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 bam. And then it got a little tougher.
Yeah, it did.
Because I got tired of catching bluegill. And because I know there's walleye in there, there's northern in there, there's channel cat. So I got the biggest minnow I could find out of the bucket, and I was using it wasn't a big, but it was a Swedish pimple with a huge minnow on it. And I was trying for the big fish, and he never showed up, but it was worth it. It's like flathead fishing. You're just out there drinking beer, having a good time.
Yeah, I had some big marks come across, but nothing ever took it.
Yeah, and I've had a problem with big fish lately. The big fish that I've had on my screen, what I assume are big fish, because I don't have a live scope or anything, but the marks that are broad on my Vexlar, I've had a real issue with them being aggressive lately. Probably the last week and a half. I haven't caught a fish over 14 inches, probably.
Time of day, bait, you suck, luck.
Yeah, all of the above. But yeah, it's with the changing temperatures and barometric pressures lately. We haven't had steady temperature or conditions, which screws fish up. They're cold-blooded. They absorb the effects of the weather more than we do. So screws them up. I'm going to edit that out. It screws them up.
Am I supposed to be looking at the camera the whole time?
No,
okay.
Not at all. Not at all. Unless you just want to.
I'm surprised we did as well as we did with the temperature change yesterday.
Yes.
With it being 52.
Yeah, it was warm during the day, and by the time we got there, the wind picked up probably 10 mile per hour, and it dropped about 15 degrees. But there are just so many fish in there that they're like, I'm still hungry. I don't care. Awesome. Yeah. So, since the last time you were on here, congratulations.
Oh,
you
thank
had a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
had a son.
that's awesome.
Our second daughter first. She's oldest, and then just had a son. So it's been fun. A lot of adjusting.
3-4 months?
2.5.
2.5?
Yep, 2.5. A lot of adjusting because going from 1 to 2, I think, is tough. And, people watching it, I have like 5 kids. Easy.
Yeah. So they remember when the second one came home. Yes.
Exactly. But no, that's going great. And it just means that, maybe I don't get to fish as much. So taking every opportunity I can to get out when I can.
Makes you appreciate it a little bit.
So more. Like going into your answer, I already got some answers formulated for some of your questions because I'm like, well, because of time, I would rather do X.
Yeah, but you've got out quite a bit. You've seen some pictures. You got on some walleye, and you went out on the lake that you guys hit.
No, it's been a blast. And getting on that early ice, I don't know. I had a lot of luck and kind of caught some of the target species that I was trying to catch. But then, like compared to last year, I never caught one. Not like zero, like none.
Yeah, I didn't catch any walleye last year either.
No, zero fish.
Oh, wow.
Like none. And I don't know how many hours I was out there.
But you've evolved so much in this last year on just fishing knowledge and fishing prowess.
It's insane.
Yes.
And it's like I still know I don't know that much. I get that.
But you've earned it this year, where previously you really were a part-time fisherman.
Well, when I have to annoy, you and other people all the time to get all this knowledge, yeah.
But you put the work in, too. You were on the water a lot this summer, which is awesome. That's a good year.
I'm looking forward to spring, but going to enjoy the ice, obviously. It makes winter so much better, honestly.
Definitely.
I agree. I enjoy ice fishing. I enjoy, guiding on the ice, but come on, spring. I can't wait.
Yeah. Cannot
wait. So, Dill, this is Dylan Fouch. I don't know if you can even see you. Well, it's pretty wide angle, actually, but Dylan and I work together. We are both electricians. Well, he kind of is one. But he's been working with me for 3 years right out of college, and he's come a long way. It's awesome to work with him. If there's anybody in the company I want to work with, it's Dylan. So kind of introduce yourself, kind of give us your outdoor background and what you know.
Well, like Ryan said, I'm an electrician, so he covered that. And I've always been outdoors growing up, fishing, going hunting, everything. Started fishing a lot more than hunting lately. Haven't got out hunting.
You got some birds this year, didn't you? You went out pheasant hunting?
Yeah, I try to get out at least once, but not as much as I want to.
Did you get out deer hunting at all?
Yeah, I went out for shotgun season, but I used to bow hunt a lot more. That's probably my favorite thing to do, and turkey hunt.
Just breathe. Get out there and just breathe.
Oh, yeah. It's really relaxing.
But you got a monster a couple years ago, didn't you? That was shotgun or bow?
That was shotgun.
Did you have them scored?
It was a 145.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Nice mature.
It was a 9-pointer.
A 9.145.
Yep.
That's a lot more impressive than a 12.145.
Yeah, he was really wide.
You big.
Yeah, it was definitely one of my favorite hunts.
You got any memorable outdoor moments like that just kind of pop out? Like everybody's talking about the outdoors and you're like, I'm going to share this one story.
Nothing actually came to mind. But when you were telling this, hunting stuff, I don't hunt that much. I used to growing up, but it's like it's just another hobby to get addicted to.
It is.
And
there's only so much time, so
and it is
which crack do you want?
And it's an expensive hobby. And I'm like, oh boy, you know, I'm going to concentrate on this, I guess. So.
I've definitely been fishing a lot more lately than hunting.
Time is a huge, especially bow hunters. There's no off season at all.
No. Trail cameras.
Yeah. I got a lot of flathead buddies that bow hunt, and after pre-spawn, they're just done. You don't see them because they're in the woods, either checking food plots or running cameras or, getting ready.
Yeah, moving stands, trimming trees.
It's a full-time job, which if you love it, you love it. I just haven't indulged in it because I've got too much other shit I like, and I know it takes way too much time. It's like when my son used to race go-karts. That's all I had time for. It's one of those hobbies that you love, but if you love anything else, don't get into it because you don't have time. You have to pick and choose. And if you don't have the time to sacrifice, then everything's going to suck. You're going to suffer anyway. So
yeah, you can go out there and you're going to see whatever, but if you want to have success and get what you want to get, you have to put in the time. And
one of the coolest things about bow hunting is watching that buck for years progress and then actually getting your trophy. To me, anyway, that's one of the coolest things when I hear bow hunters tell the story. They've got a 3-year log of what that buck meant to him. Yeah.
I don't know how you stay off that, not get trigger happy, but I'm
Yeah.
not a deer hunter, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't know.
I agree. And if I could follow a flathead for 3 years and watch him grow and watch him, I would. But I can't do it. But that would be pretty cool.
That would be.
We on one of the podcasts we talked about underwater trail cameras. If that was a thing, how cool would that be that you could, see this fish swim by this certain area you had a time, you had a barometric pressure, you had a river condition, and you can track fish.
Do you think they're always sitting in the same area or swimming through the same area? Do you think they move throughout?
They are so based on conditions. Like the fish that are here right now, because it's January, 90% of the fish that are in our county right now wouldn't be here if they had any other option.
If it gets cold enough and you feel comfortable on the ice, would you drill a hole and just throw a camera down there? See, I don't know. I thought about that.
I would love to, but in the river, cameras are very hit and miss because the sediments that are washing through. And, also, river ice scares the shit out of me. I know I'm a pussy, but...
I've tried it, but I've never had any luck on the river.
And I have had luck on channel cats. I set jaw jackers out and caught some channel cats through the ice, but... currents and eddies, and it changes the ice so much where it could be 12 inches here and 2 inches here.
Not consistent at all.
Yes.
I definitely drilled my way out.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I've got a spud bar, but I don't know. Ice is something that can kill you faster than a lot of things. Because you go in, like I've got a float suit. I got a Norfin top bottom. It's an awesome float suit. I can't even wear the coat 90% of the time because I'm sweating. But if you go in sub-freezing water, you have minutes. It's not, you got to get your ass out in minutes, get dried off, or you're going to die. That's it.
I hope my grandma's not going to listen to this podcast because she yells at me all the time for going on the ice.
He'll probably be fine, Grandma. All right, you guys got any... Either ice fishing trips, spring trips, summer trips. What do you got coming up?
I think I'm planning a South Dakota ice fishing trip here. Going
Nice.
Probably a month. I'm not sure what part we're going to go to yet, but...
Yeah? I usually go around the Webster, South Dakota area because there's literally like 30 different lakes that you can hit within 20 minutes. It's just saturated. And South Dakota ice fishing is amazing because... That's one of their main, pheasant hunting and ice fishing is their main tourist attractions, like their main incomes. So they just spoil you. I mean, everywhere you go is dedicated to the outdoorsman. And I love South Dakota for that reason. Now, if it wasn't negative 30 and they got 20 feet of snow, I'd think about going back up there. But I'm going to go south if I move.
Yeah.
Oh, moving.
Yeah, moving. I went to school up there for 3 years. So it was a good time. Great time. A lot of walleye, a lot of northern, a lot of interesting times. But if I'm ever moving, it's south. You got anything coming up?
Well, I kind of want to pick your brain, yours too, Dylan, because I get to go on one overnight this year. You hear that?
On the ice?
Yes.
Sweet.
And I'm like, do I go to, can I say the lakes? I mean,
No.
they're public.
Nah. We'll just leave it a mystery, but I know what you started saying, so I know where you're going.
A lake up north, one
That
or two. Yeah. Or that way.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know which one.
If you go with PJ Russell, which I know you fish with a lot, go to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen a guy have a place dialed in like he does. That dude can catch so many fish there. And it's time and experience. And he has that place down.
Depth. Where do you go? Or you just find the fish?
You find PJ. He's on them. No, I literally one day last year fished for 8 hours and caught like 4 fish. Ran into PJ. He's like, you're a half hour early. Next half hour, you go sit over there. And I caught probably 40 crappie in an hour.
Wow. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, he had them timed within 5 minutes that they were going to come on this current swing. He's like, right there.
Wow.
And he's got a son, I don't know how old. You know, how old
10 or 12, yeah.
A perch walleye slaying machine.
Oh my gosh, it was like every other. I'm sitting there like, I can't do anything.
It's not even fair.
It was down there and it just right back up.
Unbelievable. Now, if you're going to spend a night with PJ, I would go that way.
Fair enough.
But if I were to do it solo or with just guys that don't have a ton of current knowledge, I would go up there.
Okay.
The chances of catching a bigger fish is up there, but the chances of catching more fish if you have the knowledge is up there.
Probably want to catch more fish.
Yeah.
With the chances of catching a pretty nice
There's
fish.
big fish.
Oh,
in
yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
There's big fish in there. What's your favorite fish to catch through the ice? They said, we're going fishing for this fish. What would you pick?
I'd probably say walleye just because I have only caught probably a handful through the ice. And
It's something that you want to conquer yet?
Yeah. I want to figure them out and find them, I guess. Figure out where they're sitting. Learn more about how to fish for them.
Yeah, which every species has its nuances. But walleye is kind of mystical. You know what I mean? As far as through the ice, until you know, you don't know. Where a lot of the other fish, your big crappie, your perch, your bluegill, you're going to run into them. You drill enough holes, you're going to find them.
Absolutely.
Walleye, there's a lot of nuances that you got to know before you can really be consistent.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Last walleye I caught through the ice was 11 o'clock in the morning, just middle of the day.
Middle of the day,
Yeah,
just decided to have a snack.
Yep. And then I caught like a 6-incher, like 1 o'clock. But come
Like,
dark,
I'm a walleye pro.
come dark,
Stroking
nothing.
Yeah. Which they move so much
Oh, yeah.
in their daytime habitat versus their nighttime habitat. They move more than, because they're a predator fish. So they're going to change their habitats more when it's feeding time than when it's chill time versus your perch, your crappie, your bluegill. They're always on the menu. So they're just kind of going to do what they do until they get eaten.
Yeah. It was fun watching them on the camera move through a lake up north.
Yeah.
And they just
That's
come
south,
through.
Though.
Oh, north. But they would just come through. They'd like glance at your bait, but then they just dart off, and then they would just keep looking at it. But like other fish, they sit there and look at it, and they'll just nibble at it. But when they come and they just hit it. Yeah. Like watching them on the camera. It's
with a purpose, The higher anarchy of the predator it is, they don't waste their energy. They go there with a purpose. They get the job done. They move on.
So you like a camera, or would you rather have a Vexlar?
I think Vexlar is definitely better off because it depends on how clear the water is. Because if you can see your jig only about a foot, you're only going to see your foot on the camera. So it definitely
that makes sense.
Doesn't have a purpose at that point. Like it's just a waste of space. But it's a nice option to have when the lake is clear. Because I've fished a lake where you have 15 foot of visibility and you can see 15 foot down there.
I bought my son one when he was young just so he had something to do while I was ice fishing. His attention span was 10 minutes. And I wasn't putting everything out, getting the heat on, packing up, moving in 10 minutes. So I got him a camera. It wasn't an expensive camera, but it was a camera. Number one problem was I didn't have a tripod or anything at first because I didn't know anything about them. So we'd put the camera down and then it'd just spin. I'd get dizzy watching it. So I bought one of those remote controlled tripods that control the direction.
Game changer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I had a camera like for about 2 hours and I'm like, nope, I have no patience. Can't do it.
My son loved it. He would wear batteries out on that remote. I'd have to replace them like twice a winter. He'd just sit there and left, right. Oh, there's one.
It's definitely the best video game I've ever played.
Wait till you get Live Scope. I can't wait to get Live Scope.
That's what PJ has. That's why he's so freaking good. No, I'm just kidding. But it's unreal. Yes. Seeing that far out, seeing the fish come in, how big they are, and then watching the little ones clear out when a big one comes in. It's awesome.
I love catching channel cat through the ice. And on a live scope, it's so
You stole
cool.
my answer.
Well, you didn't answer it. So.
That's true.
But on a live scope, you can just watch him crawling down the bottom and crawling down the bottom. You're like, okay, he's 15 feet away. Now he's 5 feet away. And then all of a sudden he just comes up and whoop. It's pretty cool. But on my Vexlar, you could see a green line, that kind of comes in and comes in. But they move so slow that you really don't even notice them until they're right there. And it's, on a Vexlar, it looks like it's that 1 inch blob when it's a decent fish. Mm-hmm. So you get excited and miss him half the time. But
yeah, I've definitely learned, like watching the camera, that they don't really like jigging. They just want to come up and eat it.
Yeah, their metabolism's so slow that they just took me a half hour to decide if I even want it. Quit taking it away from me.
Isn't it something like they eat like 1,000 times more than they do in the winter during the summer? I read it somewhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't have the info, but I'm sure. And it goes back to being a cold-blooded animal. Their metabolism is so slow that they don't need that energy to survive the winter. So they just do the bare minimum. So, but it's pretty cool when you get a nice channel cat through the ice. And delicious. That's by far the best time to eat a channel cat.
All cold fish, right?
Oh, yeah.
All cold fish. But when you get a channel cat, let's say it's July and you're in the same body of water, it doesn't taste as good as it does in January. That channel cat is like a mushier texture. It's got a little muddier flavor. It tastes a lot better, at least to me.
I definitely
in
agree.
January. But yeah, cold water fish is amazing. Which I can't believe trout taste so bad because they're cold water fish. But I don't care for trout a whole lot. They're gross.
Least favorite.
Yeah, I use them for trapping bait if I catch them. All right, favorite lures. Well, let's stick to ice fishing right away. What's your go-to? Let's say you are going on a trip. What is a lure that's got to be in your bag?
I would say a pink and red spoon, and I like to use a black tungsten jig at night.
Yeah.
I've with the waxing on, I've hammered fish at night with a black jig.
Makes sense. Dark colors.
Mm-hmm.
Does it glow? This is a dumb question. Does it glow?
I have one that has like white spots on it that do glow, and it really works.
The spoon.
No, both of them, I guess, but the red spoon's always my go-to. That's what I usually start out with on a new body of water.
I like this. It's like a Wonder Bread jointed spoon. Am I saying that right?
Pinhead minnow.
Yeah,
Jointed
and it
minnow?
has a little rattle on it, and it glows. But I like putting a waxy on it, or like a minnow head or something like that. That's my go-to, and that's what I stick with a lot. I probably need to branch out a little bit more, but it's been catching all sorts of fish through the ice. It's been great.
Huh?
How do you put your minnows on, like a spoon or a jointed pinhead minnow, or like?
I just go right underneath and pop it out their nose. Is the way I do it.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Some people dorsal hook them. Some people, thread it through.
I last year I started putting it like through the tail and just seeing them like wiggled and stuff. I guess I've had quite a bit of luck doing that.
Yeah.
They stay alive a lot longer too, and there's always some kind of action down there, I guess.
And that's the exact reason I hook my bullheads that way. They never stop moving. So it would make sense. Yeah.
But since you skipped over me on my favorite fish through the ice.
Well, you said I took yours.
Yeah. Channel cat, they're the best. And that was my first fish I caught through the ice this year, was a channel cat on a body of water that I didn't even think there was
any in
there. I was shocked. Yeah, it was crazy. But had
That's
some
cool.
other luck catching some nice ones. I sent you a picture of the one.
Was that the pond about 3 miles this way?
Yep.
And then you go north?
Yep.
I've hit that twice, and I've caught 12-inch bass and 6-inch bluegill.
Really? I haven't caught a single bluegill in there.
Really?
Not one. Nope.
I bet I've caught 8 or 9 every time I've been
Jeez.
there. But it's been so slow. I've been there twice, so I can't say anything. And it's usually, I've got 2 hours. I need to run somewhere close, and I call him, and I head there. But, yeah, he told me that you'd fished it and did well. Caught some crappie. And
oh, yeah, and it was all
cat.
like after 7 or 8 at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just slammed it. Best
Hell
hooks
yeah.
that I've ever had. Boom.
got him. Hell
It
yeah.
sucks when you do that and you miss them, though.
Get ready to team up, and he's like, nope.
And your buddy's like, oh, you suck.
Let's say you're just starting out. You don't have all your equipment. You have enough money scraped up to buy a Vexilar or an ice shack. Which way are you going? You going to get the Vexilar or you going to buy an ice shack? Or any fish finder. Let's say any fish finder or an ice.
I think I'd say ice shack because you can always go find depth and stuff, but you can't always be warm.
When I was young, I used to use those weights that you drop down and find depth and
That's what I
stuff
always
like
did
that.
too.
That takes forever.
It does,
But warmth is definitely a plus when you are ice fishing. It takes fun out of it if you're cold, for sure.
Absolutely.
Can I take my buddy's ice shack? Does that not count? I can't do that.
Either or.
Well, I'm in this predicament now. I got a little Christmas money and, going to fit it in the fishing budget or whatever you want to call it. I'm buying a Vexilar. That's what I'm doing. But I have access to, a shack or whatever, which I'm going to get one of those too. But, I mean, if you made me choose and I didn't have the options, I would probably say a shack because if you can't last on the ice, and you're miserable, God, that would not be fun.
Yeah, you wouldn't be out there very long.
No.
I'd probably go with a Vex. I mean, I'd be a fair weather fisherman. If it was super cold, I just wouldn't go fishing. But there is so many times I've sat on dead ice without a fish finder when I was young, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Once when I first got, I don't even know what I got, like a Markham 35 or some old frickin' ancient fish finder, and it was a game changer. It was unbelievable. It made fishing so much more fun because if there's no fish down there, I'm not sitting there. I'm moving, you know. Or if a crappie comes in suspended 5 foot, I can reel up and catch him.
Are you going to go into sales? You're convincing me that the Vexilar is a better choice because now
that would be my choice. I would sit on a bucket in 10-degree weather with my Vexilar until the battery froze versus sitting in a nice warm shack without one.
Because my buddy that I go with sometimes, he would outfish me all the time. Oh, he sees the crappie suspended or something, he's reeling up to it, whatever. And I'm just jigging on the bottom, not knowing what's down there. And he's just, reeling them up. Well, now I got one. So, now I suck less.
You have the same advantage.
Yes, it's a huge difference.
Because truthfully, if you keep it 2 foot off the bottom, you jigs, you're going to catch fish if you're in the right spot. But you're not going to catch those fish that are suspended up there. It's a huge changer.
Is it usually crappie?
Yeah.
It depends. Active walleye are up there a lot. Your catfish are, of course, usually down. And your bluegill, for some reason, are usually down. But, yeah, your crappie, your very active walleye, your active fish are up cruising.
I've caught a lot of bluegill up about 3 foot, though. And the crappie are usually a little bit lower
Really?
than them.
I'm just the opposite. Usually, most of my bluegill come off the bottom up to me, and my crappie start suspended. So if I see a fish come through 9 times out of 10, it's either a crappie or a walleye. Is what I found anyway.
I was just talking about the random line that usually comes through at 5 foot.
Yeah.
That's usually a bluegill for me.
Usually is a crappie that's suspended as it comes through. But once in a while, you reel up there expecting a crappie, and you get a nice walleye. So it's not a bad trade.
I'd say.
How many fish do you lose through the ice getting caught on the bottom of the hole?
More than I want, because ice fishing lures have such small hooks for a reason, because everything's kind of tentative. You're dumbed down. You have smaller baits. But every 1/8 and 16th ounce lure that I have, I switch out the hooks for a bigger hook because of the loss of fish. I went with Bauer my first trip this year, and I hadn't switched out the hook on my new lures yet, and I missed an awesome walleye. He's got live scope. It was huge. I saw it coming in. It nailed my lure, had him on, fighting him, off he comes. I knew exactly why. I didn't change my frickin' hook. And it straightened one of the hooks on my treble hook.
How often do you change hooks?
On my ice fishing stuff, probably once. As soon as I buy it, I change it, and then I usually let it run. I don't think I've ever worn out a lure. But now that you say that, I really don't check them for sharpness and stuff. I probably should. I mean, because a sharp hook, it doesn't matter if it's cold or hot. Sharp hook's better.
I figured that out. I lost a couple nice flathead this fall because that very reason.
And that's huge.
Dull hook.
Yeah, before I cast a bait in at the beginning of the night, I always check sharpness of hook. Always. If it can't scratch my fingernail, put a new one on.
Wow.
So you don't sharpen them, you just get a new one.
I just get a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Whisker Seeker hooks are chemically sharpened. You can sharpen them, but you'll never get them as sharp as they come. You can make it better than it is, but it's not the best you can have. So I just put a new one on.
Have your leftovers?
The ones are all bent up because I ripped them out of a turtle's face. You can have all those. Charles Lee is one of our listeners. He sends me emails all the time. His question was, do you really want your hobby to grow? He's talking about like social media and getting people interested in fishing. Some of his examples were, of course, more people at public spots, which leads to more litter, more confrontation with
Riffraff.
idiots.
Yep.
Is it worth promoting your hobby and bringing in competition, or is it better just to keep it to yourself and enjoy what you got?
Great question.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Charles is a thinker.
Thanks, Charles.
Yes, Charles sends me stuff probably twice, 3 times a month, and they're good ones always. We've on the River
Did
Certified.
he answer these?
What's that?
Did he answer them?
He gave me his opinion
Okay.
on them. Yes, it's so disheartening when you go to a public boat ramp or something and just see all the freaking garbage.
Yeah, pleasure boaters are the worst too. I see a lot of times they always throw out their beer cans and stuff because usually they don't want to get caught drinking, because it's the same offense as getting an OWI.
You really can't paint one group, and
Yeah,
if you're an idiot, you're just an idiot. It doesn't matter what you do for fun.
Yeah.
Dylan, aren't you going to go first? Kind of keep to the same pattern here.
I can. You can go first.
I mean,
He wants to think on
that
it
is
a little
that's a tough one because obviously you want people to enjoy the sport and outdoors, and the easy answer is like, yeah, of course you want to have more people interested, and maybe that means that okay, the DNR is going to stock more of this or XYZ, but it's like, geez, you just want people to respect Mother Nature, whatever you want to call it, respect what is out there and not leave it trashier for the next person or do illegal things that, hurt the fishing experience. Yeah, and vice versa. I don't want to ruin anyone else's time
That is
either.
true.
I don't want to be selfish.
But we're friends because you are on the lesser half that you think of other people, and a lot of people don't.
It's
they could
unreal.
care less.
It's unreal. It's like, you run into some of the things you do, and I might hit up some public waters more, and that's where you run into the people that don't care and the riffraff, and like you just want people to come out here and respect the sport and enjoy it, and
And they're the first ones to say, "Oh, I love fishing." Well, pick up your shit.
Yeah.
If you really love fishing, pick it up. What do you think, Dill?
Like, I don't post fishing pictures a lot, I guess, so I don't know.
I'm trying to be a full-time guide. So I want people interested. But the people that come to a guide service aren't the people that are going to be trashing it. For one, I won't allow it. We're not going to leave any litter. We're not going to. But also, I'm not going to be in a public spot where it's easy for everybody to access because that's not where the fish are. I get away where, 98% of the people don't go because that's where the big fish hang out. That's where they got pushed. I enjoy seeing, especially kids and
100%.
Families taking their kids fishing. But when you take your kids fishing, teach them the right habits. Don't get them, leaving the worm containers on the rocks, or, I'm done with this Snickers bar. I'm going to throw my wrapper on the ground. Teach them right the first time, and that will stick. But no, I would pick growing the sport, but beating the crap out of everybody that abuses it.
That's a good one. I like that.
Spring has come. Summer is underway. You could only fish with either live bait or you could only fish with lures. Which would you pick and why?
What are we fishing for?
Fishing.
Okay.
Any fish, anytime, all summer long. Either live bait or lures. While you guys,
Okay, I'll go first.
While you guys
I'll
think
go
about
first.
it.
Or you can go.
Yeah, I'll go. Mine's a no-brainer. I'm live bait. You could give me one live bait and I'll fish until he's dead. As long as I got a green sunfish out there doing this stuff. That's all I care about in the summertime.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna share some of my personal statistics here. So, getting back into fishing and all that fun stuff. So, got back into ice fishing this past year. Didn't catch anything. Got out on some channel cat this past spring, and then it wasn't until fall where I'm gonna speak about flathead a little bit. But it wasn't until fall till I okay, I think I can catch these. It looks fun. Whatever. Watching some of your videos and all the rest. And I caught 11 flathead last fall. The smallest one was a pound. And yep.
You're like, that's so cute.
Yeah, I know. He kind of was. The next smallest was 9.5, 10, somewhere in there. Yeah. And the largest was 35. Great. Okay, perfect. Well, out of those 11, I caught 8 on artificials.
Yes.
Lures, jigs, etc. I caught the 3 on, light bait. So if you make me choose,
didn't you catch all 3 of them in one night?
2 of them in one night. Yep, correct.
You had a great night.
That was, oh my gosh, there's like a storm on every side. We got soaked, but it was great memory. But like if you make me choose, I'm probably gonna say overall live bait's probably your better option. I mean, just from a fishing standpoint, if you want to catch fish consistently, but I'm probably going to go with the artificials, jigs for flathead, crankbaits, etc. Only because I can hit a body of water really quick and get back home to my beautiful wife and kids. So that's my answer.
I like beautiful beer and big fish.
But it's a way I can get out somewhere fast.
I agree.
Hit it up. And I've had, honestly, some decent luck. And I don't know if it's just a reactive bite. I mean, that looks like.
You hit the right spots the right time of year.
Yeah.
Because you were looking for walleye. You were looking for, whatever came. But that's where the flathead were schooled up, especially in the low water.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you're right. It obviously extremely low water. This could all change if it goes back to quote unquote
absolutely
normal.
Will.
And it could
that
be
time
impossible.
of year they'd have been south.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even been here.
Yeah, but I'm actually excited to throw out some live bait, obviously, and artificials in some private spots along the way that I got permission for. So I'm pretty pumped for that. But we'll see. Because no one fishes them, no one gets to them. But,
that's the best spot.
And honestly,
if you got a 12-foot hole that gets pounded and a 12-foot hole that you and maybe one other guy fishes, you're going to catch bigger and more fish at the one that nobody else touches. It's that simple.
You go out and get bait and you come back and your wife's like, oh, hey, how's fishing and stuff? I'm like, oh, it was fine. Like, I just got some bait. I'm going to go out tonight or tomorrow. Wait, you're not. I thought you just went fishing. Like, no, you got to get the bait to get the bait to get the fish.
I went to work. I didn't go fishing yet.
It's not fun.
I had to do the work.
That's my answer. I mean, in a perfect world, you got the live bait, but if I'm going to hit something fast, and that's what I'm trying to read, the waters and all that stuff. But this could all change in a heartbeat if things go back to normal. I mean, I know that.
They have to, or else we're in trouble. The fish aren't going to survive another year the way it's been the last 2.
No, it's tough.
That's it. What do you think, Dilio?
I would say live bait, because in the summer I pull a lot of worm harnesses and stuff like that, and I've ran out of worms and used artificial, and you just don't get the same action you would with a regular worm, and don't have the same catch rate, I guess.
Teed it up on a golf tee, one's going to outperform another in a certain situation. So if you only had to choose one, that's going to limit your success. But I'm going to lean towards the live bait side, just for, and especially multi-species. Like you brought up night crawlers. Mm-hmm. There's not a single fish in the world that won't eat a night crawler.
Absolutely.
You throw in leeches.
But I've had days where I've been pulling live bait, and then we switch to crankbaits and stuff, and then you catch your limit in 2 hours rather than not having a bite.
Yep. Yeah. And 2 days later, if a front moved in, it might have been the exact opposite, you know? So like I said, if you choose one or the other, you're going to limit your success. Money's no option. You can go anywhere in the world, catch any kind of fish you want. Where are we going, boys?
Alaska.
Alaska?
Yep.
Just fish in Alaska, or do you have a certain species you want to chase?
Just fish in Alaska. Just going there and seeing.
Wrestling grizzly bear for salmon?
That'd
whatnot.
be cool.
I've got a buddy that lives up in Alaska, and truthfully, he moved there the same year I started teaching. So it was like 01. He's been back like once since. He just gone.
Wow.
Old Vernie. He turned into Alaskan. But he loves it up there. He started halibut fishing, salmon fishing, just catching monsters.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I'd love to go there, but it's like a live scope amount. You could either have a live scope or go to Alaska for a week.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it's like, oh, dang, you can have this for a long time or get this one experience. Yeah.
Yes.
So where are you going to go?
I'd probably go where I've already been. I'd probably go to the Tennessee River. One of the only places in the world where every single day you go out, you have a chance at a 100-pound blue cat and an 80-pound flathead.
Wow.
Someday I'm going to live there.
Dumb question. It's warmer down there, obviously.
Yes.
Like, how much longer, is there a longer season, if you want to call it that?
And they have a skipjack is the main bait they use, which is a very fatty, oily fish. So I think it has more caloric intake and a higher fat content. I don't know what the exact reason is, but the Tennessee River produces monsters over and over and over. And so do a lot of other rivers. But it doesn't seem like as consistent as the Tennessee River.
The food's just there.
The food's there, the structure's there. There's so much water. There's several huge reservoirs, unmatched stretches of river that are like nothing else in the United States.
How deep you fishing, usually?
Bauer caught one in over 100 foot of water. He caught a 50,
wow.
I can't remember, it was like a 53 or a 58 pounder in over 100 foot of water. But normally it's 20, 30.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Catching blue whale. I'm kidding. I don't know. Gosh, that's with some plankton.
I'm gonna send you a GoPro on that.
Noodling.
Whale.
That's a tough one. I mean, honestly, watching that video of Mr. River Certifieds over in Spain, right?
Yes.
That looked like a blast. And, I've seen pictures of those catfish like growing up and, you're a little kid and you're like, that looks amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, they caught 145-pound Wells catfish. And I think they caught 6 over 100.
I'd probably go there.
And there's 300-pounders there.
That's crazy.
Like literally 300-pound catfish.
Do you know the world record?
I don't.
Off the top of your head?
I don't. But it's over 3 bills.
Wow.
Yeah. So they caught 145, and they're like, that's a good one. Hell yes, it's a good one.
It's like a 40-pound flathead here or something like that.
The help on that thing had to have been just ginormous.
Well, they are a head, a body. They're a flathead, and then you have this eel tail that comes out the back. So they are broad, and then they go down to this tail.
What kind of tackle do they use to catch? I mean, what kind
18-pound test.
What, 18?
18 on spinning reels. So this river has a mud flat that was, I don't know the distance, but they had to boat out their baits. Like the mud flat was wide enough that you couldn't cast to the
I saw that,
water.
yeah.
So they would load their baits up in the boat. He would take them out, drop them. And then if you had a monster on that you couldn't get him over the onto the mud flat because it was a pretty much straight drop to the channel, you had to get back in the boat and fight him in the channel, and because you couldn't bring him up over the mud flat. And obviously there wasn't much structure, or else 18-pound wouldn't have cut it. If you'd have tied up in a stick, it'd have snapped it. Their guide said that if you used bigger hooks and bigger line, you wouldn't get bit as often as the lighter line and the smaller hooks. I think they use 1/0 hooks.
That's sensitive.
Which is like a channel cat hook to me. Wow. And that's what they're catching 145-pound fish on, because you're fishing off the bank. You got it. The guide's doing the boating. you're in civilization. You're not in the middle of the rainforest. So
if you made me pick North America, I'd probably say Winnipeg.
Really?
On the Red River. Channel Cat, capital of the world. That's a fun place. Been there once.
Yeah?
Yeah. Highly recommended.
My brother goes to the Red River. He goes in North Dakota somewhere. But he goes every year. And he goes up and catches 35-pound channel cat.
They're like sharks.
It's crazy. Like, he'll send me pictures, probably 30 a day, of over 20-pound channel cats. He's like, I'm not sending you a picture unless it's 20 pounds. And he'll just blow me up all freaking day long. Do you have any fishing goals? Could be short term, could be long term. What's something that you want to accomplish on the water?
I'd probably say catch like over a 32-inch walleye.
Over a 32-inch walleye.
That'd be great. That'd be like a once in a lifetime fish, in my opinion.
Can you give that to me in pounds?
It depends. If it's a Lake Erie fish, it's like 17, 18. I don't know what a 32'd weigh here. There's some.
I think it'd be a lot skinnier here than
But
what it would be there.
Yeah, oh yeah, it'd probably be 14, 15 here, which is still crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say probably your best bet would be Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Because they catch them there every year. You know, around here, a 32 would mean so much more than a 32 there. A goal that you're going to try to obtain?
Yeah, absolutely want to, older and have more funding. But
Yeah.
right now I'm kind of stuck to fishing around here.
Do you have a strategy? Like, what are you thinking?
I don't know, I guess.
Yeah? We better
But
get on it. Goals are meant to be freaking smashed,
Yeah,
Dylan.
the world record walleye is caught in Tennessee.
Really?
Yep.
I
How
didn't
big?
know that.
I don't know the measurement. But there was a tank caught in Pennsylvania this year.
Where's
off
your
the river.
computer to look,
You got one in your pocket.
That's true.
I'm going to look it up.
As far as fishing goals, mine is not fishing related. Mine is business related. I want to build my fishing business, not only, the guide side, but also the video side. I want to build it into a career. That's my goal within 2 years. I want to build the guiding and my YouTube channel into a career. So I'm no longer an electrician. I'm just a fisherman. That's my goal. As far as individual fishing goals, I don't have any right now because I want to portray my best efforts to my clients and to my videos. Would I love to catch a 60-pound flathead? Absolutely. Is that something I'm going to work towards in the next couple of years? No, because my goals are pretty set in stone right now. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it work.
And honestly, when you're trying to accomplish a goal like that, you probably will. Being on
Yes.
the water that much is
Yes.
just inevitable.
You put the best bait in the best spot,
Yeah.
You got the shot. Yep. In
2 years.
In a 60, you'll probably hear me yelling wherever you're at because I'm a freak.
You got this goal 2 years,
Yeah.
what's next month? What's 2 months?
I'm going to keep grinding. I'm going to put out a video every Friday. This summer, I'll probably bump it up to 2 videos a week. And then I'm going to get as many guide trips as I can. I think I have 18 lined up for this summer. If you guys are interested in a guide trip, get a hold of me at taslerryan@hotmail.com. Jump on Tasler's Guide Service on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Get a hold of me. We'll get you out. We'll have some fun. I've got a grill that I take out on the boat. We cook dinner. We hang out. We run a 6-hour or 12-hour trip. We can camp on the boat. I do that. I think I've got 5 camping trips lined up, so we're going to do all-nighters.
I'd say I've gone with you a couple times. And, I'm a fisherman. Like, I don't need to go with the guide. Well, just learning some of the things that I learned from you in like 30 minutes was, knowledge for a lifetime.
You don't know until you know.
Exactly.
It's that simple. And I pick up stuff every time I go out. If I go out with someone new, I pick something up. Or if I go out in a different situation I haven't been in, I pick something up.
I probably owe you some money.
Just keep the beers coming. We'll be good.
So just so we're clear, the world record walleye is 25 pounds and
25
pounds.
Was it in
Tennessee?
Tennessee?
Yep, you were right.
Yeah.
Iowa record's 14 pounds, 8 ounces.
Wow.
Yep.
Was that in,
Which,
like,
a
where was
stud
that at?
fish.
Des Moines River.
Wow.
Des Moines
It's a
River.
very broad category. You know that river that runs through half the state? It was in there.
Yeah, right there.
Above or below the Saylorville Dam?
My goal, obviously get on the water more as much as I can without,
Upsetting the natives.
well, that, and, just got a job, you got a family,
Yes.
things get busy, and,
They do.
time on
They
the
do.
water is precious, and, I get out there, and I light my scented candles and really just soak it in.
Kumbaya.
Call them in. But, if you're just going to make me like, oh, man, I just want to do this one time, it's got to be a 50-pound flathead. I want to be in the 50-pound club.
That's a very exclusive club.
Yeah.
Unless you just happen to catch one on a lure one time walleye fishing, or, anybody can catch one. It's not very common.
Didn't you say, in the fall, there's so much more, skinnier.
Yes.
So it's
pre-spawn versus post-spawn.
man, this thing could have been.
Yes.
It's not.
Yes. If I'd have caught the fish I caught in August and September, if I'd have caught them in April, they'd have been 50s. But they're not. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
But more time on the water. Even if I don't catch anything, it's still a good day. Just as long as I don't get poison ivy and chiggers and all the rest.
I deal with it. I get poison
I don't know
ivy.
how you do it. You're out there in shorts, and
Yeah.
I'm like...
About every other year, I get
covered head to
poison
toe.
ivy, and it sucks for about 2 weeks. It just agonizing. Worth it. Worth it every single second. Don't even care. I itch till I bleed all over my covers at night because it's just driving me crazy. And I'm back out there the next day. Screw it.
Are you booked up right now on guide trips
No,
going
I'm
into
not.
spring? And
Like I said, I think I've got 18 booked up, which is a fair amount. That's a good amount, but I got plenty more time, and to do the things I want to do, we need to fill it up. So, and the YouTube thing is hopefully going to be a supplement. I'm just starting it out. I'm a long ways from ever making money at it, but hopefully that sooner, in the next 2 years, hopefully that becomes a supplement of the guide service and not, something that just takes up time. I'm going to put the work in until it pays off, but it takes up a lot of time. So
the editing.
yeah, the editing, the filming,
Only one F-bomb today, though.
Well, I get that. I'll get that. But I was telling Dylan at work yesterday, I've got a video due Friday, and I was going through my footage Sunday night. I didn't like it. It wasn't good enough. So damn it, I had to go fishing Monday to get more footage. So now I've got another, we fish for 2 hours, 3 hours, and I'm probably going to use 15 minutes of that footage. So that 15 minutes will add to the other 15 minutes of good footage. So out of 3 trips, I got 1 video. So now I just got to edit it. That's tomorrow night. It'll be out Friday at 5 a.m.
How many hours of shooting the video compared to the final product?
Well, it's 3 trips. 2 of them were most of the day trips. No, I take that back. 1 trip was about 3 hours. 1 trip was about 10 hours. And then our trip was 3 hours. So let's call that 16 hours. We'll get a 22 to 30-minute video out of it. Probably 6 hours of editing tomorrow.
Are you going to show you losing any fish so you can make us all peons feel better?
I don't lose fish.
You're going to see a lot of me losing fish, I guess. You heard that earlier.
The power of editing is a marvelous thing. No, if it has entertainment value, of course I'll show it. If it's me getting excited and whiffing one, then, throwing out some cuss words or something, then yeah, it's going to make the reel. But if it's just me missing a fish, then everybody missed a fish. That's nothing to watch. Talk about our last cast. Now, Dylan's never been on. Last cast is something that, you just want to get out there, something you want to talk about. Maybe something that we did talk about, but you want to kind of revisit it and dive in a little more. We, on the River Certified podcast, we had 60 episodes, and the last cast was the only thing that was part of all 60 of them. Like, we would go through phases where we'd do certain things, but the last cast was something that we always ended the show on. So, Andy, you're a veteran.
Second time, wow.
What's your last cast?
I was kind of sitting here thinking, about ice fishing.
We're going fishing as soon as the video shuts off, aren't we?
Yes. What kind of like fishing line do you like to use on the ice?
I am a micro ice guy, a Berkeley micro ice.
So what pound test?
I've got 3 iconic rods that I use strictly for panfish, bluegill, crappie, perch. I've got either 4 or 6, depending on what jig I want to put on it. Now, my walleye rods, I run 6 or 8, also depending on what I run on it. The ones that I plan on running live bait on, or bigger, like, bigger jigs, bigger lures, I run 8 on. And then my smaller finesse, like the big pintails or pinheads and stuff like that, I run 6. My main, I know what pole has what on it, so I know what lure I want to put on that rod.
I think I'm kind of weird because I don't want to lose my 50-pound flathead through the ice.
That weighted treble hook.
That's right. I use this 12-pound gliss. I don't know if you've ever heard of gliss.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's a very unique line. I love it. Bob Fredrickson got me on it.
Yeah.
And he uses it for everything.
Well, if Walleye Bob uses it, you know it's good.
The diameter, it's 12-pound test. You're like, oh, it's huge, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like 2-pound. It's very, very,
Really?
very thin.
I wouldn't be able to tie it. My eyesight's
It actually
horrible.
is. And then it is. That's the hard part. But then I throw on a 10-pound fluoro leader, about 6 foot of that, and just tie, knot to each other and good to go. Yeah.
That's cool.
So when my buddy's
What is
losing...
it called again?
Gliss.
Gliss.
Yep.
Bob's going to disown you for giving away his secrets.
It's great.
You can cast that stuff a mile.
Yes, right? It's
Really?
like the first time you throw it,
Yeah, you thought you lost your jig.
yeah. It's insane.
First time I casted it, I was like, where did it go? And then I just started reeling in, and there it was.
Really?
You can feel everything. Everything.
That's cool.
Most sensitive line, but it's not very abrasive either.
No, you got to change it.
Yeah.
You have to check for nicks, but
Well, I'm sure.
that's the only problem I'd found.
I don't know. I'm always curious what people like to use and not use. Of course, my buddy has his 2-pound test on, and he lost a really nice walleye. Broke his line. So
And I
don't
done
want to do that.
I used to be on the 2-pound bandwagon too until I had a bass that was average size, break it, and I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I did this this last weekend
Yeah.
on
So
Saturday.
if I'm using like 4-pound fluoro or anything, it's a teardrop or it's something with a wax worm or a plastic or I don't want a bass. I don't want a walleye. I would just want to, hammer little fish on it. If I want to go fishing, then I use my 6 or 8 pound.
Yep. But you described it perfect. It's like you literally throw that lure and you thought it came off,
Yeah,
and then it
you
goes a
don't even
million
feel it.
miles. Check
Yep.
it out. GLISS.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Sorry, Bobby, I'm stealing your line. Suck it. You should have been on here to shut him up.
That's what you get for flaking on me, man.
That's right. Yeah, Bob was supposed to be on here the last 2 weeks. And both times, crickets.
He'll be
Nada.
out. He'll be out. He'll be out here. It'll be fun.
What you got, Dill?
I would say, what was like the best trip like you've ever like took? I guess we talked about trips earlier.
The most productive trip I ever took was a kayak trip down to a huge reservoir in Kansas. And in probably 6 hours, I probably caught 300 pounds of blue cat. Like there's 50s, there was 40s, there was 20s left and right. It was just, I was on fire. And everybody else around me wasn't catching a goddamn thing, which made it so much cooler. But the next day, it was roles reversed. Everybody else was piling them up, and I caught like 3 over 20. So, no, that trip was probably my most productive fishing trip as a whole. My favorite trip was probably some of the ice fishing trips I take up north with my buddies I graduated with. Like one year we took 14 people up to South Dakota and just, I think 2 out of the 5 days I didn't even fish. We were just having so much fun. Like we had huge barbecues on the ice and just went through 4 or 5 cases of beer a day and just bottles of whatever. And it was awesome. It was a great time. So that was probably my funnest trip.
Said I've been up to Winnipeg with my brother and my dad. That was obviously, that was awesome. some other fishing trips, going deep sea fishing when I was a kid and all that, catching shark and all that. I'd say the best was this past year with my brother going out on the river and portage across and, had some awesome luck, catching some nice flathead. But the best part was we're like, oh yeah, there's a storm rolling through. Like, we'll see how it goes. We're watching this thing come in on the radar. Like, what did we do? Because we literally got all set up, got the baits in the water.
You talk about portage. You could have almost jumped across the river at the level.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. we get the baits in the water and all of a sudden, boom, just rumble. I'm like, oh, we are stupid. Why are we here?
Because that's when the flathead go nuts.
Why are we
sometimes.
Here? Yeah. And I'm not kidding you, that first big pass that came through. I mean, Jefferson got, I don't know, 2 inches. It was probably the biggest rain of the year, close to. Yeah. And where we were at, you could hear the rain. I thought it was a car coming. It was the rain. And it was 50 feet away. Wall of water, and we were dry.
Like, we got sprinkled on. You are fishing, you may be saved.
Yeah, seriously. Parting the Red Sea. It was that.
That's crazy.
Just a great memory. Had a great time. And,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And piled them up.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, guys. My last cast is I just want to thank you guys. It was a great time. I haven't seen you for a while. Me and Dylan talk fishing as much as we can, but we haven't sat down and, did a podcast. Or like I said, last night was the first time I've actually fished with him. So it's great to do that after a few years of knowing a guy and hanging out. But anybody that's still watching, I appreciate it. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Every other week, we'll have another podcast out. We're going to have a lot better looking guests than these two for sure. Funny-wise, they're pretty funny, but they're funny looking too. So we'll try to up the ante on the looks of the guests now that we're video-wise. But next week, I'm going to have another video out. And then, like I said, the following week will be another podcast. So I appreciate you guys watching, and have a good night.